Hello to all of the German readers. I am Diana Gabaldon, or Gabaldon as the case may be. It rhymes with bad to the bone, if that helps. I hope that you'll enjoy all of my books, including those still to come, as well as the new television show, and have a good time. I have known from a very early age that I was meant to be a novelist. I just didn't know how. And I came from a very conservative family background, not politically, financially. And my father would say to me, well, you're such a poor judge of character, you're bound to marry some bum, he said. So be sure you get a good education so you can support your children. So with this going on at home, I thought perhaps I would not announce, even at the tender age of 9 or 10, that I wanted to write books. And so I went into science. I was attracted by science. I liked it. I was reasonably good at it. I liked to teach and to do research, but I still knew I was supposed to be a novelist. And when I turned 35, I said to myself, well, you know, Mozart was dead at 36. Maybe you better get a move on here. I think the only way to learn what it takes in terms of mental commitment and daily discipline and research and organization is to write. So, okay, we're going to write a novel. The fact that the books are set in the Scottish Highlands in the 18th century is pure accident, along with almost everything else connected with my literary career. I happened to see a really old Doctor Who rerun, which was on public television. I don't know if your audience is all familiar with Doctor Who, but it is a really old, really long-running show on British television. It's a fantasy show, originally done for children, now much more adult. But the Doctor of the title is a Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey who travels through space and time, having adventures. And along the way, he picks up companions from different periods of Earth's history. And in this very old show, which has to have been done 50 years ago, he had picked up a young Scotsman from 1745, and this young man appeared in his kilt. So I said, fine, Scotland, 18th century. So that's where I began, knowing nothing about Scotland or the 18th century, having no plot, no outline, and no characters, nothing but the rather vague images conjured up by the notion of a man in a kilt. I don't write with an outline. I don't write in a straight line. I write where I can see things happening in bits and pieces. And I do the research concurrently with the writing. So, I may read an interesting passage about something, and some little phrase in there will strike an idea. And I think, okay, I can use that. What I need on any given day is what I call a kernel, a very vivid image, a line of dialogue, an emotional ambiance, anything I can sense concretely. And once I have one, I will write it down, write down a line or two describing it. And I sit there and stare at it, and I take words out, and I put words back, and I move the sentence around. And, the conscious part of my mind is trying to make this as clear and elegant and beautiful a sentence as it can be. And meanwhile, the back of my mind is kicking up questions, how is the light falling, what time of day is it, and so forth. People have been trying to make a movie of Outlander for years and years and years, and I have seen enough attempts to assure you that it can't be done. It's a very long, complex book. It's very dense, and the pieces are very tightly interlocked. But it is a really powerful and compelling story, and people wanted to put it on film. And it's, without going into the whole story because it's very long, we were extremely lucky to have attracted the attention of Ron Moore at a time when Game of Thrones had sort of opened the door for this particular kind of television to be made. They had asked me to come to the set with my husband to visit, and it was very spectacular, a huge set and very beautiful, and so they said, would you like to be an extra? Perhaps you would like to have a cameo where we will write you some lines, and that way you'll have your own little tiny scene, and so once that scene is shot, then you can leave without causing any trouble. I said, okay, why not? So that's what we did. Well, if I had to live someplace other than where I grew up, Flagstaff, Arizona. I actually live in Scottsdale, but I keep my old family house in Flagstaff. But if I had to live for some other place, it would probably be Inverness in Scotland, or maybe Christchurch, New Zealand. I sort of feel an affinity for both those places. Oh, what is the first thing I'd like to do at home? Well, the first thing I do when I get home is to do with my dogs. I have 2 big fat dachshunds, the big dockles, and standard dogs, the big ones. Anyway, they when I get home, they immediately come rushing to meet me, throw themselves on the floor at my feet in transports of delight, and writhe and squeak. Oh, if I had 3 wishes, I have 3 children. I wish health, happiness for them.